Okay, so this is how to bake high poly or high resolution textures on a high poly object onto a low poly object. So the low poly has high resolution images. This is pretty useful for things like matterport scanning, stuff like that. So anyway, it's super simple. So what you do is let's say we have two spheres. This one here has a lot of triangles. As you can see, it's highly subdivided. And then we have a low poly version of it. And this sphere has the material. It's just all defaulted. I didn't change any of this. Assign the random texture to it. That's the unwrap. It's literally just, this is like garbage unwrapping. Who cares? Well, obviously, if you have a matterport, you're gonna have it like really properly unwrapped. But so yeah, this is how you do this. Take the low poly one. That's just a sphere unwrap project. And what we're gonna do is we're going to select this one and then shift select sphere 1, which is, we got high poly and then low poly. Okay. Now what we do here is we go down here and we go, this would be full render normally. And we want to set that to textures. This would be off normally. You want to set that like that. Now these here are going to be like the distance that it actually has an influence. So like basically the normal is kind of face inward, and it's going to project those in. But if you end up with weird looking spots or dark spots, black spots, whatever on the model, you might want to adjust this distance modifier so that parts of the model that are really low subdivided, that like got pulled away from the high resolution model, the high poly model, if the separation distance is pretty far, you're going to want to increase this distance. But it can have issues like if you have things that are really close together, it'll bake like the other side of that object onto the face of the low poly object. It's hard to explain that, but like sharp edges, like a sword, it would bake both sides of the sword onto a single face of the sword, or something like that. So anyway, to get back to the main point, we got this. We selected this, and we hit bake. And it's going to tell us there's no object or images found to bake to. So what we do, take the low poly version, we make new, and I don't know, whatever you want. This is your resolution of your images. We're going to call this like, I don't know, low poly texture. So yeah, and this is just black. Whatever, it's just arbitrary. We bake. And it's going to bake the other unwrapped section onto this. So we'll so this is low, this is high. We'll select the low, drag it off to one side, and just to apply this, all I'm going to do is this. This is the original. So if you note, the UV maps are completely different, high, low, but yet the distribution is about the same. Now this is just an error from how I unwrapped it. It's the edges of this are like really squished, but you wouldn't have that problem if it wasn't a sphere. But yeah, you can see like the low resolution is basically the same. You may have somewhat more defined faces where like the faces meet up. So like on this, it'll be a little less clear sometimes. but it's pretty much dead on. Close enough. So yeah, that's how you do it. GG.